income statements are compiled and audited by CPAs. They're turned in every year. And when there is a requirement or a need to include or increase any of our rates, we bring it to the board in the Prop 218 fashion, and everything is laid out and it's shown why. You'll see that we didn't raise the commercial rate because the commercial rate wasn't required to be raised this year. We're allowed an operating ratio of 8%. And so it's, if we don't meet the 8%, if we're in a good margin, then we ask for more. If we're not in a good margin, then we ask for more. And that's kind of a window between 7 and 9%. Also, I wanted to make one more little comment, which was about 2 years ago, we went in for a low population waiver when SB 1383 came out, and we did that with the intentions of not having to do all the extra reporting that other cities and communities have to do because they're larger, and because of the size of the community, we were granted that waiver. And then we asked the IDMA to kind of look at that and say, hey, you're not putting all of your resources into San Miguel because we're not part of the SB 1383 agreement. So because of that, IDMA passed an ordinance or resolution on July 1 that actually lowered their rate that we had as part of the pass-through from 3% to 0.84%. So that dropped the overall increase in San Miguel from 9.3 down to 7.14. So I think that's a huge win for San Miguel. It's a huge win for the community. I was super happy that that low population waiver was able to work out, and IDMA took that into consideration and was able to help us out and lower that rate for the entire community. So just wanted to make sure that even though it says 9.3 and that's what the Prop 218 was put out, we don't have to put out a 218 to lower the rate, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we don't have to put out a Prop 218 to lower the rate, so by just throwing in that, 2.16%, it came down, it'll bring the rate down lower than what's actually presented in the 218.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions on? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, the public portion of this hearing is now closed. This is the time which the board may discuss and deliberate about the proposed rate increase. Anything to discuss, gentlemen? No. Okay. We will now allow staff to count the total number of protests. If the number of protests exceeds 50% of the number of customers, then each protest would need to be manually verified, and these proceedings will be continued to a future date.
So we actually do have a protest. I'm not exactly sure how many, but we usually don't get any, so this is kind of surprising.
Okay.
There's one protest. From what it looks like it is a residence in San Miguel with garbage service, so it would qualify. So we would have one protest.
Okay. So that would be less than the majority of property owners filing protests. Is there a motion on this item?
I'd like to motion that we adopt 2025-29.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Just for clarification, this resolution is resolution of the Board of Directors, San Miguel Community Service District, approving a rate increase of 9.3% for residential trash collection and disposal services in fiscal year 2025-26, and increasing in all solid waste services not to exceed the annual consumer price index increase for fiscal year 2026-27 through fiscal year 2029-30 pursuant to the requirements of Proposition 218 and making the required findings as listed in the resolution. So again, this is the maximum that it can be. It can't be lower than that.
Okay. So make sure you guys know what you're voting on. A motion on the floor by Director Smiling, second by Director Beatty to approve Resolution 2025-29. We'll take a vote. Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Green?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 5-0, no absence.
Okay. The rest of this is me too, correct? After a majority vote?
I think you have to state those findings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Understood. I find that the revenues derived from the garbage rates do not exceed the cost of providing the property-related service. I find that the revenues to be derived from the fee are not used for any other purpose. I find that the rate increase does not exceed the proportional cost of this property-related service. I find that the charges are directly tied to the property-related service being used or immediately available to the property subject to the fee charge. And I find that the service is not available to the public in substantially the same manner as it is to property owners. Okay, the last doesn't apply since we didn't receive it. Thank you. We move on
Thank you, Aaron.
to non-district reports, San Luis Obispo County organizations.
Good evening, Sandra Raza, Commander for the Templeton Sheriff's Office Station. I'll start with last month's stats. We have taken a total of 27 reports for the year. We had one for assault and battery. We had 2 reports for disturbance, no reports for burglary, 1 report for theft, 1 for vandalism, 1 call for service for trespassing, 3 calls for service for scams, 6 suspicious circumstances calls, but no reports were taken. I also want to report on the 4th of July. We had a very busy night. I had every intention of starting here and making my way through Shandon, Creston, then moving back to Templeton, maybe Santa Margarita. So it was, very lucky timing that we were here. I never left here until the Templeton fire, but it was very busy. The chief was very busy. We were assisting him as well. This is my new assignment as of January, so I just wasn't sure if San Miguel was uncharacteristically busier this 4th, because I don't have previous years to compare. My previous years for the 4th have actually been in Cayucas for that demand. So the department staff department-wide, a lot of people's concerns is, that I didn't have enough deputies here. But what I want to explain is that if I have deputies that say are on the off-road vehicle team or the bicycle team, some of those assets go to Cayucas for that parade there. I did have an off-road vehicle team here, and I did have a bicycle team here for the morning parade. So I had to staff for the Templeton parade and upstaff for the evening, for all my jurisdictions here. The amount of citations given will be reported to the Board of Supervisors first next week. Then we'll hear more there. I can say that on my way to calls here in the city, we would have what I suspect were kids, running, or teenagers. So we would stop and pick up the launchers and the mortars that they left behind. Right before the hillside brush fire, we did stop a couple of juveniles, and we were starting to kind of get their information before that, but one of the kids was holding the mortar backwards, and my sergeant was like, dude, you're gonna blow your own hand off, right? So I just thought you'd probably save that kid's hand that night. So anyway, we were starting to get their information, parents, or where they lived, and then the brush fire started, so obviously we had to break for that. Other than that, I'll let the fire chief speak more, but that's just the report on the 4th, and trying to get ahead of what could be questions on why didn't we have more here. Obviously, once we went to a couple emergency calls here at the peak of dispatches hour, they received 200 calls, in 1 hour at their peak that evening, just to give you an idea. So I just want to make sure that the community knows that their concerns are our concerns. We know that fireworks, pose a clear and present danger, during the 4th, which is why we upstaff. It's just difficult because, often the criticism comes after when we have more information and we know when the damages were done. But there's no way for us to predict that. We try as hard as we can, but we still have to triage through all those fireworks calls, life or death emergencies, that come in through 911. So I just wanted to say that. I also looked on the calendar, the 4th is on a Saturday next year. So once the fair's over, because I'm heading there after here, and we're gonna, get together and see how, as a collaborative, department-wide, we can continue to prepare for this. Because I was really worried those structures were gonna be impacted that night here. Any questions for me?
Did you issue citations to fireworks users in the community?
It wasn't to individuals. I wish that would have been a felony and a free ride to, no, actually I probably wouldn't have, because I can't be out of pocket. See how that works, right? Like, wouldn't have been worth my drive. But it was to the residents. There's that new ordinance, that new county ordinance that passed, but it just passed within the month of the 4th, so I'm hoping there'll be follow through and the fines will be imposed, because I hope that the word will get out. Every firework is $1,000 each. Again, those are being compiled, and the complete numbers will be given to the board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Questions or? No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Community service organizations.
Hello. Kathy Schluter, president of the San Miguel Senior Center. We're trying to get the Meals That Connect program in San Miguel. We have about half of what we need for them to start at 15 people. And so I'm just trying to let the community know that, there's a number out here. You can pick this up and then call them and sign up for yourself or family members that are 60 and older.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Any other community service organizations? All right. Camp Roberts. Okay, Camp Roberts.
She won't be here tonight, but she did say that her or the commander will be here next month.
Thank you. Staff and committee reports. General Manager.
Have my report. Again, I just like to remind the board and the public, if you have any questions regarding the district, I'm more than happy to talk to anybody. Feel free to give me a call, email me, come down and see me. My information is in the board packet, or just call the district office.
Thank you. Board comment or questions for the general manager? No. I do have a question. In the report, we're discussing the restitution. If these are not paid, will they end up being liens or not a lien, that's not a property, but what would it be on an individual judgment?
Restitution is a personal debt, and if there's a judgment related to it, it's really on the district attorney's office to further any lack of payment and restitution. The judgment lasts for a lifetime. It gets renewed, I believe, every 10 years. We have to send in a renewal, but it's still unpaid and payments still need to be made. But there's no lien process because it's a personal debt. It's not attached to property or anything like that.
Okay. We continue to harass the district attorney's office to see about collecting into the restitution, and I don't know if they impose wage garnishment and that kind of thing, but it seems that what's been paid is fairly minor considering what's owed.
So we are receiving regular payments from the county currently. Initially, we were not receiving anything from them, and because it, I believe, is a garnishment function, they may just not have had jobs.
Okay.
Ms. Johnson is paying more on it, obviously, than Ms. Myers. We also changed accounting systems in 2014, and hers was before that. So it's possible that she actually has paid a little bit more, and we're researching that. But this is what we can locate so far.
Okay. Thank you very much. District Council.
I do have an update on an item that was brought up by Director Green, which has been conveyed to him, but I wanted to make sure the whole board has the information. There was a question as to why approximately $16,000 was spent on a recall, on legal fees related to the recall in 2022. And upon researching it, that number is incorrect. It was about $6,000 that was spent in legal fees in relation to the recall. It is unclear where that $16,000 number came from, but we are inquiring with staff to figure out where that number came from, but it is not a right number. The correct number is $6,464.90. Additionally, there have been, it is come to our attention that the district does not have a use of district property policy as far as if any kind of organization or groups or people want to utilize district property on a temporary basis for some reason or rent it, or there's really nothing in the policies related to that or who authorizes it. Any use of real property belonging to the district or leased by the district would require the board and an application process, but we don't have anything in place at this point. So I wanted to bring that to the board's attention in case you want us to bring an item forward to consider such a policy.
Great, thank you. Board comment questions for legal counsel? Yes.
Two, should we get a consensus on whether or not we want legal to move forward in creating such a policy?
Would this be the time for that?
Yeah, we would just need two board members to want something brought back for a future meeting.
I think there should be a policy for sure.
Anybody else? I do too.
Okay.
Could you please tell us how much your company charged us for determining the amount, the correct number of what was in the agenda regarding that $6,000?
Nothing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you have a question, Director Davis?
Yes, I have one. Is there any way, because the way I learned about it, it was the bookkeeper, Michelle, that said the recall cost the district $15,000. Now, she had to come up with them numbers somewhere.
Right, we just don't know where. So I don't have an answer to that. I'm not sure where the number came from at this point, but I didn't want to wait any longer before providing an update to the full board because it's been a while since the question was asked.
Who was the general manager at the time?
2022, it's been Rob Robertson, I believe.
2021.
Yeah, Rob Robertson.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. District utilities.
You guys have the report is submitted. The only addition I have is I attended the planning commission meeting this morning regarding the wastewater treatment plant, and the planning commission voted to approve the conditional use permit amendment for the treatment plant to allow the expanded capacity and expansion onto our adjacent parcel. So now it'll move on to the Board of Supervisors for formal approval, and we'll be able to move on with the permitting once we get closer to having funding from the state.
Thank you. Board comment, questions?
Yeah, have you ever come up with a reason why we're taking everything from the whole county? Because that's costing money to treat it.
You have to be more specific.
okay, all those trucks that are going in and dumping in our treatment plant, I mean, there are lots of them, you know.
Yeah. So that is, so we're receiving septage from
Right,
septic companies.
right.
And we're being reimbursed for that. We're being paid for that. So the cost that they're paying is covering our cost and some for treating that waste.
Yeah, very little. Because you said, like you're getting paid, what, $11 a gallon or something? Or
I wish. $11 a gallon would be great.
Well, anyway, it was 11 and 9.
It was 11 cents.
11 cents, and it cost us, you said 9 cents to treat it.
Yes.
Not to mention, it's not being tested for anything, or if it does.
So we are testing septage. We're not testing every single load that comes in. We're doing random testing. So it is being tested. We are watching what is coming in. So it's not just a free-for-all, as what seems to be the thought process here.
Who's paying for the testing? Us or
Well,
them?
it comes out of the money that they pay us. So the rates that they pay us covers our cost to treat the waste and the cost to test it. And as of last month, or the last board meeting, this board approved a rate increase for that service to also include a portion to pay for capital improvements to the treatment plant and capital improvements specifically for septic receiving and long-term maintenance.
You have this coming back in a future meeting for discussion?
I thought it was on this.
I think it's going to be on a future meeting, if I recall.
Yeah, I think it got moved to August, so
Okay.
we can have a discussion about that later, whether you want to stay in August or.
Understood. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Fire chief report.
Good evening. My report is submitted as written. I just have an update on the fireworks, which is not part of the June report, it's part of the July report, but it's a topical item, so I figured I'd touch on it. First of all, I'd like to thank the commander for being up in San Miguel when she was. It was comforting to see commander and a sergeant rolling around in a vehicle. There was an undercover officer as well as another deputy, and they were very helpful. When things started to become very active, everything kind of started at 9-something and rolled into 4 o'clock in the morning rather quickly. The brief synopsis on the fireworks report is the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Department was able to remove 5 launchers and 29 projectiles from San Miguel. I think that estimate might be low. That was what was given to me for proper handling and disposal. San Miguel Fire did not conduct a community-wide enforcement patrol due to potential of increased danger to department staff. And I'm going to go over this attached notification dated July 4, 2025. That was forwarded to legal, general manager, and the commander as well. The impact from 2024 versus 2025 is clear that the result of the actions beyond San Miguel Fire's control resulted in fewer illegal fireworks being removed from the community and placed the community at a higher risk. If you scroll through the fire chief's reports and get to, I'm scrolling there with you. Page number 38. Page 38 contains an email that was forwarded to legal on July 4th, and I will read this. It says, "Hello, Christina." Christina Patrick is our legal representative. "I apologize for contacting you on a holiday. However, I feel this item is of dire importance and jeopardizes my safety and the safety of our firefighters. Attached are screenshots from Gregory Campbell clearly stating, 1, these are Facebook screenshots, by the way, San Miguel Fire Department has no law enforcement power to enforce illegal firework laws, regulations, or ordinance per the San Miguel C.S.D. lawyer. 2, these are direct quotes. The San Luis Obispo County Sheriff will not write citations on first contact except for extreme violations. 3, CAL FIRE is not coming to San Miguel for fireworks enforcement. 4, the town is on its own. Follow-up comments from John Green consist of, these are Facebook screenshots as well. 1, we are being told our fire department has no enforcement authority. 2, cross your fingers, it's the only defense we have. Continue on the email. All the aforementioned comments add fuel to the fire of lawlessness regarding possession and use of illegal fireworks within San Miguel and puts department members at risk. From my perspective, the statements made by Mr. Campbell and Mr. Green will embolden individuals possessing and using illegal fireworks, escalate hostility, and increase the probability of violence against department members during our planned community-wide enforcement patrols. Unfortunately, for the reasons stated above and using an abundance of caution, it is my professional opinion that the risk versus the gain is now too unbalanced. I understand the limitations that the department has regarding citation ability. However, past practice using light-handed approach will be too risky based on the potential for escalated violence, violent behavior, and exposure to the district. I have firsthand experience on how violence escalates during fireworks enforcement interactions. Now with the added fuel provided by the comments from Mr. Campbell and Mr. Green, the risk to all department members beyond the acceptable level. Therefore, the San Miguel Fire Department will not be performing community-wide enforcement patrols and will only be responding to emergency response calls. Thank you for your attention regarding this matter. Respectfully, Scott Young, Fire Chief. If you go to page 38 of the board packet, you will see the screenshot from the San Miguel Censor, Gregory Campbell, with the quotes clear as day. You will go to page 39, actually skip page 40, blank. Page 41, you will see interaction with John Green back and forth regarding the comments that I quoted. If you go to page 42, you will see the fireworks that the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Department passed on to me. So there's 5 launchers, and you'll see the array of projectiles they were able to remove from the street. These are very large projectiles, by the way. These are the 6-inch version, not the 3-inch version, so we are at a higher level of pyrotechnics. When you go to page 43, you will see a cache of 81 launchers that the San Miguel Fire Department was able to remove from the streets in 2024. So we took 100 launchers off the street in 2024 versus 0 in 2025 due to an enhanced threat of potential risk to firefighters. And on page 44, you'll see over 100 projectiles. And I say over 100 projectiles because some of these are Roman candles. Roman candles have 6 to 8 projectiles that shoot into the sky. You'll see the box display, which those little units contain up to 12 individual projectiles within that. So there's well over 100 projectiles we were able to remove from the streets of San Miguel in 2024. Unfortunately, with the social media outrage and basically tipping off individuals saying that, falsely, we don't have any authority to confiscate fireworks. We do. Health and Safety Code, I believe it's 12726, clearly states we have the authority to remove illegal fireworks from the streets. But emboldening people and saying we have no authority and removing the risk of threat of fine by the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Department, who was clearly within the community service district, the risk was way too high for us. All it takes is one emboldened individual to act poorly. All it takes is one person to hit somebody in the face with a vodka bottle, which we've seen, and it has happened. All it takes is one individual to light a mortar and throw it in our direction. One mortar contains approximately 200 grains of lifting charge in flat powder. That is the equivalent of 9 12-gauge shotgun shells. And they have the opportunity, because they are essentially armed. They have a hand grenade in their hand. And you've seen video of people in LA, riots in LA, people throwing fireworks and having them explode. So unfortunately, our enforcement efforts were 0. We were committed to responding to emergency calls. I was not putting our department in the position where I would have to make a phone call and tell somebody's young wife that their husband is in the hospital because they have a severed artery in their neck and they may not live, or they could be blinded because somebody threw a projectile at them. Fortunately, we were on point, and we were staffed, and we had a lot of calls that we had to deal with, and it went from unconscious unresponsive child to staging for a medical aid, to a small brush fire, to a small debris fire, and then, of course, to Templeton. So that is the update. I'll be happy to answer any questions regarding this, and I feel that my actions were solid. It was community-minded. Unfortunately, the community of firefighters was my top priority, and protecting the district was my top priority. Putting firefighters in harm's way jeopardizes their safety and jeopardizes the safety of the district.
You have a couple of comments. First comments would be, one, that your social media posts are not dated, so I'm not sure what date they occurred. I guess the one element I would say is that you're providing this information on the 4th of July. And it's based on 2 individuals' comments, not the entire community. I guess the assumption is that everyone in San Miguel is on social media, seeing these posts and understanding that this must be fact, whatever was said must be fact instead of question. If you were on or seeing these posts, you certainly as the fire chief of this community could have responded and say, San Miguel does have enforcement capability, we all are going to be patrolling, whatever. So you could have taken the initiative to do that. So,
Seriously, you're gonna defend a board member's actions for doing that?
excuse me, point of order, I'm speaking. The point is that you are the fire chief, you could have, again, responded to these things in the time that they were taking place, if you're on the social media to see them in the first place. Secondly, and I'm not defending anyone's statement, I'm not defending anyone's statements on social media. I'm not on social media for a reason. So I really don't, I'm not here to say whatever somebody said was correct or not correct. I'm merely saying that I think there could have been a response from the fire chief. And again, launching this letter on the 4th of July when not a single board member is going to see it, likely legal didn't see it.
2 board members showed up to speak to me that day.
Obviously, I didn't get it on the 4th of July. So I didn't get it on the 4th of July, so
It wasn't presented on social media. But 2 board members stopped by to check on the status, and they were spoken to. If you would have stopped by, we could have had that conversation. Unfortunately, it's not my job to respond to social media. I would spend all day in the cesspool of social media and wade through anonymous comments and fish through this nonsense. All it takes is one emboldened person. That's it. One emboldened person to ruin somebody's life. And this did it.
I understand. I fully understand what you're saying. All I'm saying is that 2 individuals are the ones that were speaking. They don't speak for the entire community, first of all. What you do is inherently dangerous. What you've done in the past with the enforcement is inherently dangerous. My opinion personally is that those 2 individuals did not significantly change how dangerous it was for you in the past versus today. Going and trying to stop people from launching illegal fireworks is inherently a dangerous proposition. Because people are drinking, they're, again, as you pointed out, armed with explosive items. So I don't see that it drastically, those 2 individuals drastically changed the color of what we were looking to do.
I believe that the gentleman who wrote the follow-up comment the next day